the news, right? The basic, like this person traveled here, this person delivered this speech, or like the kind of that commoditization has happened. Nobody's going to pay money for it actually.
Yeah.
The reader is going to pay you essentially if there is some emotional resonance with the product. Especially that's my understanding. More so for an ideological media, or you should be like a Financial Times or like say a Wall Street Journal, which provides that level of knowledge, information, which is useful for you to, for your business or for your, say, like if you're a close watcher of the market or market trends. So that level of high quality differential knowledge information, or it should be a product that emotionally resonates with you. You have certain ideas, worldview, you want to come and read it, nuance your worldview, or sometimes even reinforce your prejudice, whatever way you put it. It can be like nuancing, reinforcing, whatever. So there are, at one end of the spectrum, people are willing to pay for that kind of products which have an emotional, which strike an emotional chord, or you kind of identify with it. Or people are going to pay for products which are the FTs or the WSJs of the world actually. So other than this two, in terms of kind of a new player building a huge subscription and all that, I see that is going to be a real challenge actually. So either it has to be an activism, or it has to be something like that, or maybe I don't know, as increasingly maybe some very hyper local news offerings can monetize. Again, I'm not sure about the subscription model in this actually.
Yeah.
So only these two, or you should be like a very powerful legacy media brand, like say the New York Times, or say the Spectator in the UK.
The New York Times is doing well actually.
Yeah, so, in fact, I think probably it's one of the legacy media brand which has brilliantly transitioned into the digital space. Though you might not ideologically agree with the coverage of India or whatever, but from a digital transformation perspective, I think it's a huge success story. In fact, you really are not able to, even in India, if you take the Hindu has kind of found it a huge challenge to, transform into a digital footprint, right? Actually, even Times of India is now trying out several things. The last 2 months have been a big disruption for them, because they had invested in a very nice print model where they had a great distribution network and all that. But last 2-3 months have been pretty challenging for them actually. So in India, somehow the very entrenched traditional media houses have kind of lagged behind, or sometimes even failed in the digital game actually. Of course, some of them are catching up, and just because they are legacy brands, obviously they have a certain salience, and they will be able to kind of capture some interest. But they have not been just able to convert their print momentum to the digital actually. So from my perspective, for a new player, either you got to have a product which has a very clear differential in the worldview or something like that, or you should be someone who's giving you a real-time useful information that is going to help you either monetarily, financially, or make strategic business decisions or something like that. Others, I think it's going to be, if you're a run-of-the-mill, undifferentiated content offer, or you are just aggregating stuff from available public sources, and even if you do very adversarial conflict reporting, unless like you do it very consistently and of a very high quality actually, even that I'm because in India also there is a certain lack of faith in the media also, which I think like a lot of people are not.
I think it's a global phenomenon.
It's a global phenomenon, but much more where like say in India and the US, where there is polarization seems to be a little more pronounced at this point of time. I think it is even more true. And historically in India, the polarization is going to go against the established players, because they are the names that people know of actually, and they have been traditionally dominant in the narrative actually. So it's a there's no long term trends that I can see of. I think like maybe subscription based business would have to be the way forward, I would think actually,
Yeah.
because of this pandemic I don't really see advertising returning in a big way anytime soon actually, at least
Yeah.
in the next 1 year, because typically it's the discretionary spend. Ad spends
Yeah.
are mostly discretionary and disproportionately garnered by, say, big media houses, or right now even the ad spends are increasingly going towards Facebook and Twitter. I mean, not Twitter essentially, Facebook and Google,
Yeah.
which is able to provide you such level of micro targeting ads.
Yeah.
They just sit on enormous digital demographic data of all. I mean,
Yeah.
so I think like advertising, at least for the next 1 year, is pretty much a difficult challenge. Uh, TV we might have to look at. I think TV seems to be very interesting because I think because of the fact that people are restricted their movements and they want to consume a lot of
Viewership. Yeah.
content. Yeah, maybe the millennials are going for entertainment based content in the new age platforms, but I think some of the traditional middle India might probably double up on watching a lot of television actually. So television might be a relative gainer in this scheme of things actually.
Right.
Though I'm not sure about the ad spends directed towards the television, but I think people are watching more TV actually,
Yeah.
is my sense. I'm not sure. Maybe Ashish has some numbers on the consumption pattern.